Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Sabbath in peace to all of you. As we say Shabbat shalom. Right. Sabbath in peace. Rest in peace. Right. For this is the rest that the Most High has caused the children of Israel to rest. At the end of our week, I pray the Most High was gracious to all of you throughout the week, in all the fleeting moments, blessing you and keeping you and preserving you throughout the week, that you could come to another Shabbat, because he preserves us. A lot of people didn't make it to the end of the week this week. Every week, a lot of people don't make it to the end of the week. So it's always a blessing when you come upon the Shabbat day that you have yet have another week that you're able to come and serve and praise the Most High. All right, as you completed, he has kept you throughout this week. All right, it's lucky for my voice, but it is like 4 services in a row. This is day 4. By tomorrow, I don't know what I'm gonna have left. But it still was a glorious week, keeping the Purim, keeping the Feast of Nicanor. It's a blessing how the Most High, when you start to go into your own culture, we had a nation that, man, we partied all the time. All right? We had a whole week, you're trying to see, right? We partied all the time. Israel was a happening place. All right? You think New York never sleep. Listen, Israel, we always had something going on. There's always some convocation, always some praise, some gathering of some sort amongst the children of Israel. Okay? Go to the scriptures, we notice this. As we put on our heritage again, we start to see, it was not a boring life living in Jerusalem. Okay? And we're going to get back there again, huh? And Most High is waking us up. Right now, we got to manifest that kingdom within ourselves. So we got to make this our Jerusalem for now, and keep the commandments now. Because the kingdom is within you, according to the scriptures. And you got to bring it out of you. Therefore, before the Most High actually takes us to the kingdom. All right, so let's get Colossians 3, verse 17. Giving all thanks to the Most High, in the name of Mashiach Yahushua, whose name is worthy to be praised.
The book of Colossians, chapter 3, verse 17. And whatsoever you do in word or deed, do all in the name of Mashiach Yahushua, giving thanks to the Most High and the Father by him.
Always giving thanks to the Most High in the name of Mashiach Yahushua. Let's get Ezra 1:1. The book of Ezra in your Apocrypha, first chapter, first verse. First book, first chapter, first verse. Page 1. First chapter, first page. Oh.
The book of First Ezra, chapter 1, verse 1.
Come on.
And Josiah held the feast of the Passover in Jerusalem,
right,
unto his power, and offered the Passover the 14th day of the first month.
Right. So the Passover is the 14th day of our first month. Okay. We're about to celebrate the new year that the Most High created. When is New Year's? Who knows what date it is? That's right, the 17th of March. 17th of March. Now, why is it the 17th of March? Because that's the new moon that begins the spring season. Okay? That's the new moon that comes in to bring us into spring. That's the way the year starts. Every year, according to the Most High's calendar, his calendar is the solar lunar calendar, there's 4 seasons every year. All right? It starts with spring and it ends with winter. All right? Every year. All right? As you go through these 4 seasons, When spring come back around again, you're in the new year. All right. That's why everybody does what they call spring cleaning, right? Because they know it's a new year. All right. There's no new year in the middle of the winter, in the middle of the night. That doesn't make any sense. You're in the middle of the cold, in the middle of the night, and you screaming Happy New Year. Right? That's not the new year. The new year is in the springtime, right? When everything is renewed, when the plants are renewing, the trees are starting to bud again, the animals, they start to procreate in the springtime. All these things happen in the springtime. All right, so it's the first, so when is going to pass over the 14th day of the first month? What is that going to be? If our New Year is the 17th, then when is the Passover? 30th. The 30th at even. Okay, we're the 30th at even. Okay, of March. We're going to hold a Passover celebration. All right, read on.
Verse 2. Having set the priests according to their daily courses, being arrayed in long garments.
What kind of garments?
In long garments.
Right, being arrayed in long garments. Who was arrayed in long garments? Who was arrayed in long garments? The priests. Right, just read it. Right, they had a long garments on. Why do they have long garments? Because it's the Passover. This is a solemn assembly. This is a big deal. Right, this is when you go put on your best and come out. Right, it's the Passover. Right, that's what you save. Like in the world, a lot of you celebrated Easter, right? And you had that suit that you ain't wear all year. All right, lime green down to the socks, and you coming out for Easter, right? Well, we put those things away now, and we keep the Passover because we realize Easter is not the Heavenly Father. Easter is actually a celebration of a goddess called Ishtar. It's a fertility god. That's why you got bunnies and eggs. A lot of people never put all that together. Why I got bunnies? Why there's eggs? Why, and this got to do with the resurrection of Christ. That's too much going on. Could it be all these things at the same time? No, that doesn't make any sense. So Easter really comes from the celebration of the fertility goddess called Ishtar. So the eggs represent fertility. Okay? And bunnies, just like the Playboy bunny, is known for a lot of procreation. Okay? So that's why you get the bunny, and you got the eggs, and you got this festival called Easter. All right? Has nothing to do with Christ rising after his crucifixion. It has nothing to do with that. The Catholic Church tried to incorporate that into a festival that already existed called Easter. They tried to bring Christ's resurrection involved in that. Okay. When you look up the word Easter in the Bible dictionary, anybody got a Bible dictionary? Get a Bible dictionary and look up the word Easter. Give me the definition of the word Easter. Sure, this is even a made up holiday.
Read it.
Yeah, read it.
All right. Bible dictionary, the word Easter in brackets says Passover.
Says what?
Passover.
The first meaning of the word is Passover. Because there was no Easter, it was Passover. Easter was something that was injected into the Bible. And injected into, that's why they put Easter, and it said, right there next to it, it says Passover. Right? Because that's the real holiday that was taking place at that time. It was Passover. There was no Easter. That's something that came way later. All right, read on.
Rendered Easter in Acts 12 and verse 4.
Right.
But correctly translated.
But what?
But correctly translated.
But correctly translated. So it was written Easter in your Bible in Acts 12 and 24, right?
Yeah.
But What is that?
12 and verse 4.
So, sorry, 12 and verse 4 in Acts, right? Let's get Acts 12 and 4. It was written Easter in your Bible, but the Bible dictionary is telling you that it was incorrectly translated. It wasn't incorrectly translated. They put that word in there. They literally injected that word into the Bible. It didn't exist in the dialogue, which is the Greek version of the Bible before the Bible was translated to English. That word Easter ain't even in there. That was something put in there by the Crusaders, the Christians, put that in the Bible. Okay. As when you study the Bible, you start to even, a lot of people say, well, the Bible's been tampered with. Anybody ever heard anybody say that to you? Oh, the Bible's been tampered with. It's been printed so many times, it's been changed. And then you always ask them, well, what part was tampered with? I don't know, the whole thing's been tampered with, right? Because they can never tell you what's been, if somebody's gonna tell you something that's been tampered with, show me how it's been tampered with. Where has it been tampered with? We can show you exactly what was changed and what was tampered with in the Bible.
Yeah.
Okay? So that we can say, yes, it was tampered with, but we have the real information. The Most High made sure his information was not hid and it was available. So yes, they did try to mix up the Bible, but it's still available. All right? Read it,
The day on which the church celebrates the resurrection of Mashiach Yahushua.
Right.
Easter is celebrated on the first Sunday after the full moon following the vernal equinox. The date of Easter varying between March 22nd and April 25th.
So read that one more time.
All right. It says the day on which the church celebrates the resurrection of Mashiach Yahushua.
Right.
Easter is celebrated on the first Sunday after the full moon.
After the what?
Full moon.
After the full moon. Now, how many phases in the moon? The general phases of the moon. You have new moon, half, full, then you have the other half, and it goes back to new. Right? You have some phases in between, like slither and things of that sort, but that's the phase of the moon. So the full moon represents what day or what time, what part of the month? What part of the month? Is the beginning of the month, the end of the month? When is the month full? Full moon. It's the middle of the month. It's the exact center of the month. When you see the moon is full, you know you're in the middle of the month. And you got 2 more weeks left in this month. When you see the full moon in the sky. Okay? Showing you that what? Easter was supposed to be on what day of the month? The 14th day. All right? So it coincides with what? The full moon. Okay? Because the full moon will be coming in the 14th day. Everybody see that? So when you read about in the Bible dictionary, it's telling us around the time of the full moon, it's just solidified that they were keeping this Passover that was on the 14th day. And they wasn't keeping it on Easter. Right? Easter was added later on by historians that added this festival, but it wasn't the way from the beginning. Read that. Read again with the equinox.
Okay. Easter is celebrated on the first Sunday after the full moon following the vernal equinox.
Following the what?
The vernal equinox.
The vernal equinox. What is that? Vernal equinox. Anybody know what an equinox is? Anybody? We're going to do a little science here, because this is what we do here, and we expose the truth. There's science also involved. Okay, this is actual and factual things. This is not just believing in things that you can't tangibly see and understand. What is an equinox? Equinox is when the what? When the season is changed. Okay, when there's 2 equinoxes of the year. One when the winter comes in, it's called a winter equinox, and then you have one when the spring is coming. Okay. So this is showing you that what? It's the beginning of the year, the springtime. So there's a lot of evidence here we use to determine that we're doing things the correct way. All right, read on.
The date of Easter varying between March 22nd and April 25th.
Right, so it's late March, early April. We'll always land within that bracket. Late March, early April. It slides a bit back and forth because seasons and the moons are not exact, but it's going to land late March or early April. All right, so let's go back to Ezra's. If you want to ask, every Acts.
Acts chapter 12, verse 4. The book of Acts, chapter 12, verse 4. And when he had apprehended him, he put him in prison and delivered him quotations of soldiers to keep him, intending after Easter to bring him forth to the people.
Right, so what they put that word in there, intended after Easter, but it's really after the Passover. Okay, after the Passover. All right, so now let's go back to Ezra's. Ezra's.
The book of Ezra, chapter 1, verse 2. Having set the priests according to their daily courses, being arrayed in long garments,
right,
in the temple of the Most High. And he spake unto the Levites, the holy ministers of Israel, that they should hallow themselves unto the Most High, to set the holy ark of the Most High in the house that King Solomon, the son of David, had built.
Yeah.
Verse 4, and said, ye shall no more bear the ark upon your shoulders. Now therefore serve the Most High your power, and minister unto his people, Israel.
Right, so what? We are supposed to minister unto the children of Israel. Okay. As they prepare for this Passover, in long garments, they remember the ark, and they brought forth the ark. Okay, the ark of the covenant, right, which was hid from this time forth. Right, even to this day. Remember, there was an old movie called Raiders of the Lost Ark? What were they looking for?
Ark.
They're looking for the Ark of the Covenant. Right? What was another movie about the name of the other movie, but they make movies about looking for this ark. Because Esau be looking for the ark for real.
Yeah.
He really be out there looking for it. But the Most High said, what's the Most High high something, how you gonna find it? You only let you find it if he lets you find it. Right? Read on.
Verse 4. And said, ye shall no more bear the ark upon your shoulders. Now therefore serve the Most High your power, and minister unto his people, Israel. And prepare you after your families and kindreds, according as David the king of Israel prescribed, and according to the magnificence of Solomon his son, and standing in the temple according to the several dignity of the families of you, the Levites, who minister in the presence of your brethren, the children of Israel. Verse 6, offer the Passover in order, and make ready the sacrifices for your brethren, and keep the Passover according to the commandment of the Most High.
Right, so what? We have to keep the Passover the way the scriptures tell us to keep it. He says, keep it after the commandment of the Most High. Finish that verse. Which was given?
Which was given unto Moses.
Which was given unto Moses. So Moses told us how to keep the Passover. And that's the way we must keep it. Let's get Leviticus. Let's see what Moses said. Since it told us, do it like Moses said, now we're going to go see what Moses said. Yes, 23, Leviticus 23, verse 1. And then we're going to jump down.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 1. And the Most High spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them concerning the feast of the Most High, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations. Even these are my feasts.
Right, so even these are my feasts. So these are all proclaimed to be holy convocations. What does that mean? Holy gatherings. All right, so let's jump down to the Passover. Verse 4.
Verse 4. Yeah. The book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 4. These are the feasts of the Most High, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons.
Right.
And the 14th day of the first month.
And there it goes again, the 14th day of the first month. You know, now we're reading what Moses wrote, right? Read.
At even is the Most High's Passover.
At even. So when you get to the evening time, what's significant about the evening time? What happens when the sun goes down every day? It starts a new day. Every time the sun goes down, it starts a new day. That's why it says at even. As soon as that sun goes down on the 14th day, what day you went to? What day just begun? 15th day. All right? That's the very beginning of the 15th day, which is the ending of the 14th day. But for us to be prepared as the sun goes down, we come together on the 14th day. And as the sun goes down, we begin the service. Okay? Because it's the very beginning of the 15th day. Everybody understand that? That's what's significant about at even. When you read it in the Bible, at even, anytime they give you a day at even, it's the next day. Read.
Verse 6. And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto the Most High. 7 days ye must eat unleavened bread.
Right.
And the first day ye shall have a holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein. But ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Most High 7 days. And the 7th day is a holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein.
No, stop right there. So now, unleavened bread. Let's understand unleavened bread. What is unleavened bread? Bread with no yeast. So, starting on the Passover, and for the next 7 days after the Passover, you ought to eat bread with no yeast. Right? Like matzah, like, like 11 cakes, anything unleavened for that week. We got to eat the unleavened bread every day, and we can't eat bread that has leaven. We can't eat soft bread. We can't eat no sandwiches that week. No nothing. No pizza. No Publix chickens. Or the breaded ones, right? We want to stay away from the bread outside of the unleavened bread. Any other bread product, you can't consume it that way. Everybody understand that? Now this is it's physical, but it's also spiritual. Why he's telling us to do this? Because that bread, that leaven represents something. Let's get Corinthians. Let's see what that bread represents. First Corinthians 5. Yeah. 5 and 7. 5 and 7. 1 Corinthians 5 verse 7.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 5, verse 7. Purge out therefore the old leaven.
The what?
The old leaven.
It says, purge out therefore the old leaven. Matter of fact, start with the 6th verse.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 5, verse 6. Your glorying is not good. Know ye not that a little leaven leavens the whole lump?
Right, a little yeast changes the condition of the whole lump. All right, a little yeast can change a bunch of dough into something different. Doesn't take a lot, it takes a little. So we have to understand, this is why Most High tells us to remove all the leaven from our house. Don't leave a little bit there. Take it all out. Right? You know?
Verse 7. Purge out therefore the old leaven.
Right?
That ye may be a new lump.
He may be what?
A new lump.
And you may be a new lump. Read on.
As ye are unleavened.
As ye are unleavened. So that leaven is talking about what? Sin. That's what it's talking about. It's talking about sin. We got to purge out. So we're doing something physical, but it's spiritual at the same time. That old man, that old woman, that old person that might have been more susceptible to sins, now you're purging that person out. And you're becoming wholly a new body, a new person in Christ. Right? You know?
As ye are unleavened. For even a Mashiach, our Passover is sacrificed for us.
Right.
Therefore, let us keep the feast, not with old leaven, neither with the leaven of malice and wickedness, but with the unleavened bread of sincerity and truth.
Right. Unleavened bread of sincerity and truth. That's the significance of the Passover. It's to bring forth that sincerity of your heart, of your mind, and that truth that comes out your mouth. What is the truth? Right. Psalms 119, verse 142. Let's get there real quick. Psalms 119, verse 142.
Book of Psalms, chapter 119, verse 142.
Mm-hmm.
Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth.
And thy laws is the truth. So we keep God's laws, we keep it the truth. That's the truth you're walking in. That's the sincere bread you walk. You're walking in the bread of sincerity when you keep the laws. When you're following rules that you didn't make up yourself. These rules are given to us by the Most High God, creator of heaven and earth, and all that in them is. The most divine set of rules and commandments on the planet Earth. When you live in according to those, you are elevated to the what? To the meaning of your name, Yahshua, Prince of Power. Okay. What you had, Yahshua?
Oh, I'm trying to get 2 Corinthians 5 and 17.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
Okay.
2 Corinthians 5 and 17. Let's get that now.
Yeah.
Second Corinthians 5 and 17.
The book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 5, verse 17. Therefore, if any man be in a Mashiach, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new.
All things are what?
Are become new.
All things are become new. So, old things pass away. Old habits, old traditions, old ways of thinking, old ways of acting passed away. That's what you're taking out when you take out that leaven out your house. You're taking that old man out, that old man out, and you're replacing it with what? That perfect child of the Most High. Okay? Read on.
Verse 18. And all things are of the Most High, who hath reconciled us to himself by Mashiach Yahushua,
Right.
and hath given to us the ministry of reconciliation.
And gave us the ministry of reconciliation. What does it mean to reconcile? Do what? Why would you talk it over? So for what reason? So that you can do what? Remember? Who else? Anybody else? To bring us back together. You talk it over to come with a solution so that you can come back together. That's what reconcile. So to reconcile with someone, you had to have been with that person, separated from that person, and then reconcile back to that person. You can't reconcile to somebody that you were never with. So when it says giving the reconciliation, it can only be to Israel. Because Israel is the only nation that had a relationship with the Father that's been recorded in the Bible. Okay. Israel is the only nation. Right. All nations are in the Bible, but only one nation had that firstborn, matter of fact, that father and son relationship with Israel. Give me that in Exodus. Yeah, 4:22.
Exodus chapter 4, verse 22.
Right?
The book of Exodus, chapter 4, verse 22. And thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, thus saith the Most High, Israel is my son.
Israel is my what?
Is my son.
You see that? He didn't call any other nation on the earth his son. He said, Israel is my son. That's the relationship between the Heavenly Father and you all. He's literally your father. Literally. So Israel is my son. Read.
Even my firstborn.
Even my firstborn son. What does the firstborn son get? An inheritance. That's why he called Israel his firstborn son. It wasn't that Israel was created first. Other nations was created before Israel. Matter of fact, Israel was one of the last nations created. When you read about the time of creation. Okay, Israel was the last nation created. But it's his firstborn son. Meaning that what? You get the inheritance. You get all the share of the riches. It's coming to Israel. Okay? What you want to do?
Said it again in Hosea 11:1. Hosea 11:1. When people say, when did you love us? You know,
Oh, no. Let's go back. We'll stay on top. Talking about the Passover and the leavened bread right now. And I'm going to go off into a whole other topic.
2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 18.
The
book of 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 18. And all things are of the Most High, who had reconciled us to himself by Mashiach, and had given to us the ministry of reconciliation. To wit, that the Most High was in Mashiach, reconciling the world unto himself.
Reconciling the world unto himself. What world? What world? Everybody in the earth? Christ reconciled everybody in the earth to himself? But if you read it just verbatim, you might think that. He said, man, Christ reconciled everybody. That's what the Christians teach. So what world did he reconcile to the Most High? Yeah, prove it. Is that 45 and 17?
The book of Isaiah, chapter 45, verse 17. But Israel shall be saved in the Most High,
right,
with an everlasting salvation.
Come on.
Ye shall not be ashamed nor confounded.
Come on.
World,
What?
world,
What?
world,
Read it.
without end.
World without end. So that's the world that was reconciled to Christ. It was Israel. Israel culture. It's like a different world. When you learn how we lived as Israelites, it's like a different world than the world we're living in right now. Everything that we do in this society is like backwards, man. It's backwards compared to what the Most High said. So it's like you enter a whole nother world, a whole nother zone. When you come back to the Lord, set the commandments of the Heavenly Father. Okay. So this is what's taking place, during the Feast of Unleavened Bread, and what you should be thinking about during the Passover. Right? This is what we should be thinking about. All right, let's go back to the law. Back to Leviticus 23. And jump down to the 39th verse.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 39. Also, in the 15th day of the 7th month, when ye have gathered in the fruit of the land, ye shall keep a feast.
Okay, again. Hold on. That's tabernacle. That's all doing with tabernacle. Give me Exodus 13 and 1. Exodus 13 verse 1.
The book of Exodus, chapter 13, verse 1. And Abram went out. The book of Exodus, chapter 13, verse 1.
Right.
And the Most High spake unto Moses, saying, Sanctify unto me all the firstborn, whatsoever openeth the womb among the children of Israel, both man and of beast, it is mine. And Moses said unto the people, Remember this day in which ye came out from Egypt, out of the house of bondage. For by strength of hand the Most High brought you out from this place. There shall no leavened bread be eaten. This day came ye out in the month of Abib. And it shall be when the Most High shall bring thee into the land of the Canaanites,
Right.
and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, which he swore unto thy fathers to give thee, a land flowing with milk and honey. And thou shalt keep this service in this month. 7 days shalt thou eat unleavened bread.
Right. 7 days shall thou eat unleavened bread. No leaven, no yeast. All right. Remember we read, it said we got to keep the feast as Moses wrote it. So now we're in Exodus. This is also the writing of Moses, telling us how to keep the feast. Read on.
Verse 7. Unleavened bread shall be eaten 7 days, and there shall no leavened bread be seen.
And there shall be what? No leavened bread seen with you. So you can't say, well, you know what? I don't want to throw away my little tasty cakes. So but I'm not going to eat them. I'm just going to put them on the top shelf. The Father said he wants to see no leavened bread seen amongst you. When he sent that angel to check you out, they can't see no leavened bread anywhere. That's what he's saying. Get rid of it. Get it out of your house. Get it out of you. Get those old customs out of you. That's what they represent. Those old customs that you're still holding on to. As you learn about your heritage as an Israelite, everything changes. But we try to keep certain old customs because that's what we're used to. Nah, you got to get rid of everything. You got to start from scratch. Christ said, let's you be converted like a child. Right? You got to be born again, literally. Okay. Relearn everything. And now you're prepared to serve the Most High Yah. All right? Is that on that?
According to thou shalt show thy son. Got that? Yeah, verse 8, according to your children, show your children.
No, I don't want that. Now give me Exodus 12 and 1.
The book of Exodus, chapter 12, verse 1. And the Most High spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first fruit, the first month of year to you. Speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, In the 10th day of this month,
Right.
they shall take to them every man a lamb, according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for an house.
So what we do is we go down to Okeechobee in Miami, and we go get a lamb. Okay, live lamb. You select them from the lambs and the goats, just like the scriptures say. You go down to Okeechobee. When I say Okeechobee, I'm talking about Miami, and I'm talking about West Palm Beach or Lake Okeechobee. Come on, right down there in Miami, so about 27, right? And we go get a lamb. Read on.
Verse 4. And if the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next unto his house take it according to the number of the souls.
Unfortunately, we can't do that part yet. Because I can't necessarily bring a lamb into my complex, you know? The neighbors would be like, all right, this guy, there's a problem with my neighbor. He has a lamb and he's alive, right? You can't do that. I can't do that in my complex. Maybe where you live at, I don't know where you live at. Maybe you live in Davie somewhere where you can do that. But where I live at, that ain't going down like that, right? We can't do that on this strip right here. We can't have a lamb outside and slaughter the lamb outside. Can't do it. All right. We're going to end up getting arrested. All right. We don't want that. But it is the law to do that. And if we had the means and the abilities to do that, we would do it. We just don't do it because we can't do it yet. And that's how it is in this kingdom. There's certain things where restrains us in certain ways to flourish in our commandment. But if our commandment could flourish, we would take that lamb for the 10th day, separate him, and make him the special Passover lamb. And then on the day of on the feast, we would kill him on that day. But we can't do that. So what we do is the day before, we go out to the farms, we kill it at the farm, they dress it, you know what I mean by dress it, huh? Right? I mean, they take out the innards and they take out the skin, they dress it, and they cut it up and all that kind of stuff, and then we bring it back. Okay? On ice. Okay? And then we season it and we cook it the next day for the Passover. Okay, this is the way we prepare it now. But, like I said, if the Most High open up a way to do it more according to the letter, we will do it that way. Okay? Huh? You know?
Every man according to his eating shall make your count for the lamb. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. Ye shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats.
Okay.
And ye shall keep it until the 14th day of the same month. And the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening.
That's right. So what? We would kill the lamb before we cook the lamb. Right? We would kill it in the evening.
Verse 6. Verse 7. Exodus. 12 and 7. 7, right? 12 and 7.
Want me to read it?
Yeah. Let him know where you at because he got it.
Okay. The book of Exodus, chapter 12, verse 7.
So like the minister saying, right, we in this captivity, we can't really do everything exactly how the Most High would prescribe us. We're not going to be able to do it 100% all the way full Torah until we get into our land. So the Most High take advantage of this captivity, right? Read.
Exodus chapter 12, verse 7. And they shall take of the blood and strike it on the two side posts and on the upper door posts of the houses.
Right, that's what our ancestors did. When that death angel went over to smite the firstborn of the house of the Egyptians, that's what our people did. Right? Read.
Of the houses wherein they shall eat it.
Right.
Verse 8. And they shall eat the flesh in that night.
And the Most High said we should do what?
And they shall eat the flesh in that night.
And we're supposed to eat that lamb that same night. We can't be trying to have no doggy baths. Can't bring the lamb back to your uncle that's off at the crib. You can't be doing that. You gotta eat that lamb that same night, right? Read.
Roast with fire.
What?
Roast with fire.
Right. So the Most I say you gotta roast that lamb, right? You can't fry it up. You can't bake that lamb. You can't boil that lamb. You gotta fry it up with fire, right? Read.
And unleavened bread.
Right. With that unleavened bread, right? Read.
And with bitter herbs.
With bitter herbs, right? To represent our captivity we spending even to this day, right? Read.
They shall eat it. Verse 9. Eat not of it raw.
So we can't be trying to rock it like Esau. Esau like eating meat raw. We gotta make sure we throw it in that fire and it's cooked thoroughly, right? Read.
Nor salt it at all with water, but roast with fire.
So can anybody take a guess what the Most High is trying to say when he said not salty? I don't want to pick no names, brothers. Brother YT, what you think that means? Not salty.
Not salty with water. Well, I guess you're supposed to soak it.
Exactly. We're not supposed to be trying to make no lamb soup for the Passover, right? Read.
But roast with fire.
Right.
His head and his head with his legs.
Right.
And with the pertinence thereof.
So the whole thing. Read.
Verse 10. And ye shall let nothing of it remain until the morning.
And we can't leave no leftovers. You can't eat half and try to eat some of the rest in the morning.
Correct.
We gotta get rid of that whole thing that same night, that same convocation. Right? Read.
And that which remaineth of it until the morning ye shall burn with fire.
You should do what?
Burn with fire.
And whatever that's left, we gotta burn it with fire. Read.
Verse 11. And thus shall ye eat it with your loins girded, your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand. And ye shall eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover.
So when we're praying for the Passover, right? All these, basically what the minister is trying to show us, we gotta do what our ancestors were doing right in the sight of the Most High. Keeping the Passover, that's what the Most High wanted to be doing this time. We wanted to be keeping Easter. You know what I'm saying? Keeping Christmas, Halloween. We gotta do what they were doing. That's what got them get in the favor of the Most High, right? Let me get one scripture before Shalom will come back. Give me Romans 15, verse 4, and then give me Jeremiah 6 and 16. Romans 15, verse 4. Because we gotta pay attention to what our ancestors were doing, right? What they were doing right. And we gotta mimic that so we can get in the Most High's favor. Like keeping the Passover. Getting rid of that old man, that sin, that old leaven. So we can prepare ourselves for that new upcoming year. Because it's almost time for our people to get out of here. We gotta make sure we got ourselves prepared for that. Romans 15, verse 4.
The book of Romans, chapter 15 and verse 4.
Right.
For whatsoever things were written aforetime.
So everything that was written from Exodus, the instructions to keep the Passover, right?
Were written for our learning.
Was written to help us get right with the Most High, get right in His sight, right?
That we, through patience,
right,
and comfort of the Scriptures,
right,
might have hope.
That we might be hope. We're going to get out of this captivity. So give me Jeremiah 6 and 16.
6 and 16?
Yeah. Keep the old ways.
Oh, okay.
The minister had to hold that business all day, man.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 6 and verse 16. Thus saith the Most High, stand ye in the ways, and see, and ask for the old paths.
Right.
Where is the good way, and walk therein.
Right.
And ye shall find rest for your souls.
And that's going to be a rest for our souls, learning how to keep the Passover, keep the Passover, and keep rehearsing it. Because we got to teach our children this, right? Actually, got another piece that it's in Deuteronomy.
About 32 and 8.
32 and 8.
32 and 7. Come on, different.
Deuteronomy 6 and 7.
7.
Yeah.
Deuteronomy 6 and 7.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6 and verse 7.
Right.
And thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children.
So even after we learn it, we gotta pass it on to our children. They gotta learn how to keep the Passover. They gotta learn to let go of that old leaven. They gotta learn this heritage, how to prepare themselves, and they gotta teach their children after them. But we might be here for another couple of years. We gotta keep passing the torch on, right, to the next generation. Right?
And shall talk of them when thou sittest in thine house,
Right.
and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up.
Right.
And thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thine hand.
So when, just like the Passover, these all statute commandments, you go bind them in your house, you gotta teach your kids. They're gonna ask you, yo, Pops, why I gotta keep the Passover? Everybody keep the Thanksgiving, Christmas. You gotta be able to break it down and tell them. Right? You gotta tell them why we roast the lamb, why we make it soup. You gotta tell them why we eating the bitter herbs, the unleavened bread. You gotta be able to teach them. Somebody got a piece of this.
Yeah. Well, it's similar to what you're saying. This is Proverbs 22 and verse 6. The book of Proverbs, chapter 22 and verse 6. Train up a child in the way he should go.
What?
Train up a child in the way he should go.
Right, and a lot of people these days are not teaching their children that. That's why you got little 12 years old robbing grown men. Because they're not teaching their kids what? The old path, the old ways.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to finish, everybody's trying to make 100 to 1,000. Right? We got to be the ones to teach our children, yo, we got to keep the Passover. So the Passover, we got to get it right. Get it right. Right?
And when he is old, he will not depart from it.
And he's not going to depart from that. He don't know when it's time for the Passover. He don't know when it's ABIB, like the captain like to say. When it's time for the month of the Abib. Right?
His butt. You taking a minute. Let me use his butt.
Oh.
You said he had it line.
Mm-hmm. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6 and verse 8. And thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thine hand, and they shall be as frontlets between thine eyes.
Right.
Verse 9. And thou shalt write them upon the post of thy house and on thy gates.
It did me dirty. Did me dirty. We got to people 27 to 30. That talks about when the Most High had made send Yahweh to destroy the Pharaoh in his first one.
Mm-hmm.
We got to get into
What was that?
Exodus 12. You see it right there. Exodus 12, verse 27 and 30.
Mm-hmm. It says 12 and 27.
Yeah.
Okay. Book of Exodus, chapter 12 and verse 27. Exodus 12 and 27. Then ye shall say, it is the sacrifice of the Lord's Passover.
So that's what you're going to tell your children, right?
who passed over the houses of the children of Israel in Egypt when he smote the Egyptians.
When he did what?
Smote the Egyptians.
Right.
And delivered our houses. And the people bowed their head and worshiped.
So these nations in the last days, they're going to realize, yo, Christmas is not the true holiday. It's the Passover. I can't be keeping Easter and Hanukkah we got to keep. They're going to when we uplift our own holidays, our own traditions, they're going to realize like, yo, we got to follow this one. The power is right there. Just like the Most High exalted our people in the time of Pharaoh during the Passover, we're going to do it again. Right? Read.
Verse 28. And the children of Israel went away and did as the Most High had commanded Moses and Aaron, so did they.
Right.
And it came to pass that at midnight the Most High smote all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sat on his throne unto the firstborn of the captive that was in the dungeon, and all the firstborn of cattle. And Pharaoh rose up in the night, he and all his servants, and all the Egyptians. And there was a great cry in Egypt, for there was not a house where there was not one dead.
So the Most High delivered our people, right? So just like you were saying, the unleavened, the getting the unleavened, the lumps, whatever, out of your system, right? Getting your spirit right for the Passover. What's going to get you right? What's going to prepare you for the Passover? What's going to help you get that old leaven out of you? Anybody take a guess? What's going to help you get perfect for the Passover? Fasting. What else? We talk about it all the time when we're here. All the time. And the scriptures talks about it all the time. What's going to get us prepared to keep Passover? What's the essential tool with you? Let me give you a hint. What's perfect according to the scriptures? The love. Anybody got a precept? You sure?
Sure.
It doesn't go.
The book of Psalm, chapter 19 and verse 7. The book of Psalm, chapter 19 and verse 7. The law of the Most High is perfect.
Is what?
Perfect.
Is what?
Perfect.
And that's what we're going to need to use to get that old leaven out of us. Right?
Converting the soul.
Doing what?
Converting the soul. The testimony of the Most High is sure.
Right.
Making wise the simple.
It can make somebody who was known for finessing, a murderer, a killer, a thief, right? To what? Wise, righteous, right? Prepare them for the Passover. What's righteousness? What's our righteousness? What else? There's another scripture. You sure? Get it.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6 and verse 25. Deuteronomy, chapter 6 and verse 25. And it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all these commandments before the Most High, our power, as he hath commanded us.
Get that in Psalms 2.
Psalms.
Yeah.
The book of Psalms, chapter 119 and verse 142. Psalms 119 and verse 142. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. Psalms 119 and verse 142.
You need me dirty, I
You can finish up.
ain't have no piece on top of my head. About the Passover. I'm gonna know.
I'm just gonna be in 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, just need to-
That was it.
Real simple. I heard you do it. It's at 12.
Yeah. Still gonna go fight, I.
You not look to this?
Doing to the highness.
Most I did it, not me. All right, so let's see. We got a clear understanding of the Passover now. I think we should. All right, we understand when it is, why we're keeping it, because this is the time where Christ passed over us in Egypt. All right, that's the commemoration, and it's also the Last Supper. Did you go to the Last Supper? Oh, you see, you know more than good. Let's touch on that, and then we'll close it out. That's most important to understand that too. All right, get the book of Matthew. Okay.
I just told me today, the actual Passover was that one night, right?
Right, the Passover was the one night.
That was that one night.
Uh-huh.
And why is there so many days?
Right, the Feast of Unleavened Bread.
Oh, that's right.
Huh? The Passover was only the first night. But the first night, Passover, first night, is also the beginning of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. So both holidays start on the same night. So the Passover is actually the first night of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. And we have the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Why? Because we fled after Yahushua passed over Egypt, killed all their firstborn, we had to get out of there. So we didn't have time to be leavening bread, and we just took our bread the way it was and hit the road. Yeah. And we had an exodus. All right, we got out of there. All right. Johnson Matthew. That should be good. Yeah. So now, what we're also looking at also is that the Last Supper is the Passover. Okay, we read about in the scriptures. All right. It was Luke 24. Is it? Sure. We get it right now. Luke 22, 22nd chapter. 22 and 1.
Luke chapter 22, verse 1. The book of Luke, chapter 22, verse 1. Now the feast of unleavened bread drew nigh, which is called the Passover.
Right, you see what I'm saying? So the Feast of Unleavened Bread was also called the Passover. Right? The first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread is the Passover. And the rest of it, 7 days, is the unleavened bread feast, Chag Matzah in the Hebrew. Read.
And the chief priests and scribes sought how they might kill him.
Right. At this point, they're trying to kill Christ. Right. The chief priests and the scribes is plotting to kill him. Read.
For they feared the people. Then entered Satan into Judas.
Then entered Satan into Judas. What does that mean? Satan entered into Judas. Right. An evil spirit. Right. That was upon Judas. Right? Satan can enter into anybody's vessel. You know what I mean? If you have that evil within you, you know what I mean? You gotta have that door. You open that door for Satan to enter in. For Satan to enter in, and then what? He can what? Lead you astray. A lot of times we get on our own understanding. We make our own emotion more important than what the Father's telling us. Satan can enter in and cause you to do something that's out of the way. All right. So,
Then entered Satan into Judas, surnamed Iscariot,
right,
being of the number of the 12, and he went his way and communed with the chief priests and captains.
Right. Now, Judas, of course, he was a righteous man. He was one of the 12 disciples. He wasn't a wicked man. Right? They try to paint Judas like he was some wicked dude or something. How you gonna be a wicked dude and you're a disciple of Christ? That don't even make sense. So Judas was a good man. But what? He had this desire for what? For money. And that desire for money, Satan was allowed to enter into Judas and cause him to do this wicked thing. Read.
How he might betray him unto them.
Right.
And they were glad and coveted to give him money.
Right. And
he promised and sought opportunity to betray him unto them in the absence of the multitude.
Right.
Then it came the day of unleavened bread, when the Passover must be killed.
Right.
And he sent Peter and John, saying, Go and prepare us the Passover.
Go and prepare us what?
The Passover.
Right. So this is the Last Supper. So they have it there in your church. They have something called like communion. And they call themselves doing the Last Supper. And they give you bread and wine. It wasn't the Last Supper. It was the Passover. But it's supposed to be keeping it the Passover. Christ kept the Passover. He didn't keep no Last Supper. The Last Supper he ate was the Passover. Everybody understand that? So that's truly what's supposed to be done in commemoration of Yahushua, is keeping the Passover. Read on.
And prepare us the Passover that we may eat. Verse 9. And they said unto him, Where wilt thou that we prepare? And he said unto them, Behold, when ye are entered into the temple, there shall a man meet you bearing a pitcher of water. Follow him into the house where he entered in.
Right.
And ye shall say unto the good man of the house, The master says unto thee, Where is the guest chamber where I should eat the Passover with my disciples? And he shall show you a large upper room, furnished there, make ready. And they went and found as he had said unto them. And they made ready the Passover. And when the hour was come, he sat down, and the 12 apostles with him.
Right.
And he said unto them, With desire, I have desired to eat this Passover with you.
Right. He said, with desire, I desired to eat this Passover with you. I really wanted to eat. Christ is like this. I desire to eat this Passover with my brothers. Right? With my disciples. Read.
Before I suffer.
Before I what?
Suffer.
Before I suffer. So the Last Supper before Christ went on the cross was the Passover. Come on.
For I say unto you, I will not any more eat thereof until it be fulfilled in the kingdom of the Most High.
Right. He said he's not going to eat the Passover again until the kingdom comes. That's Moshe said, I'm not going to eat he's not in the heavens eating the Passover. He's waiting to eat the Passover again with you all. When we're in our kingdom, that's what Christ says, that's when I'm going to eat the Passover again. So that shows you that what? We're going to be keeping Passover in the kingdom. Huh? Read.
And he took the cup and gave thanks, and said, take this and divide it among yourselves. For I say unto you, I will not drink of the fruit of the vine until the kingdom of the Most High shall come. And he took bread and gave thanks and broke it, and gave unto them, saying, this is my body, which is given for you. This do in remembrance of me.
Right.
Likewise, also the cup after supper, saying, this cup is the New Testament in my blood,
Right.
which is shed for you.
Who?
For you.
For you, you disciples. Man. My blood was shed for the disciples. This is it right here. He said, do this in remembrance of me. He didn't say, have Christmas in remembrance of me. Right? Presents and trees in remembrance of me. He said, do this in remembrance of me. So every year, if we want to remember what Yahushua did for us as a nation, we have the Passover in remembrance of him. So it's very crucial we understand that if two things happen to Passover. We remember what happened in Egypt, but we also are keeping the Passover in remembrance of Mashiach Yahushua. Everybody understand that? Read.
Verse 21. But behold, the hand of him that betrayed me is with me on the table. And truly the Son of Man goeth, as it was determined, but woe unto that man by whom he is betrayed. And they began to inquire among themselves which of them it was that should do this thing. And there was also a strife among them, which of them shall be accounted the greatest.
Right, so what? They were there, the disciples was arguing, who's going to be the traitor? Who's going to betray? And who's the greatest of us all? They were having all kinds of disputes between the disciples. That goes to something else. But I just wanted to grab the understanding of the Passover, that Christ kept the Passover. Christ's parents kept the Passover. Okay, he said every year they came up to keep the Passover. And put Yahushua up there. So this is our heritage. We make that pilgrimage back to our land every year for the Passover. Okay. So for tonight, that is it. We're going to end it on that note. On the Yahushua keeping the Passover. Prepare yourselves. If you're going to get garments, remember we did measurements. If you haven't got your measurements done, try to get them done tomorrow. Right? For the men. The garment is $100, right? And if you want all accessories like meat tree and armbands and stuff like that, it's an additional $50. If you just want the garment, it's $100. All right? We're going to be getting these garments made up. As for the sisters, we don't have somebody to make garments for the sisters yet, so you kind of get your garment or get your dress, how you can go about getting it. So that some of the sisters have ways of getting the dresses. You can kind of contact another sister on how to get your dress together for the Passover. All right. So with that, I'm going to say, Almighty Mopanya Yerushalayim, stand and face Jerusalem. We're going to set up the Mashiach Halal, the Lord's Prayer. All right. The last one, Kodash. You need that?
Oh, I know, I remember.
The Lord's Prayer, the I won't pull out. Repeat after me. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Haya, Shemka, Yahweh, Malakwaka, Taba'ah, Watazayaka, Haya, Aisha, Baharataza, Ka, Haya, Bashemayim, Natananawa, Nakum, Kayawam, Wasalaknawa, Kabiwatinawa, Kasalaknawa, Kabiwatinawa, Wala'a, Tabayanawa, Banasiawam, Abo, Awashaynawa, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Walaala, Wa'ipara, La'ayamno, Bahasham, Amasha Yahusha, Tawara, Tumyar,
Matthew 6, verse 9. After this manner, therefore, pray, Abba Yahweh, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us for our debts as we forgive our debtors. And it is not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. For when we forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you forgive not men their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses. Bahashem, Hamashach Yahushai, Duwalat and Yah, Amen. All right, the Most High hand, hallelujah. All right, while everybody coming out, remember, don't forget, tomorrow noonday, we have a Shabbat service. We're going into the portions. We were almost finished with Exodus, so that means the Exodus test is coming soon. All right, the Exodus test is coming soon. All right. Yeah, we got only 2 more portions left in Exodus. So in about 3 weeks, you're gonna get the Exodus test. Make sure you know the book of Exodus. Shalom.